Today, I want to jump back into Activision, and there's a reason why I think it's important that we're talking about it, that people are posting about it, and that it is trending on Twitter. Momentum, momentum, momentum. Sure, there's probably 1,000 things we could be mad about or focused in on. There's definitely things that require work. So let's acknowledge that, but now let's focus. Welcome everybody to my channel. My name is Brian if you're new around here. And today we're still talking about Activision because it's important. If you guys saw my last video about it, note that that's something that's been very important to me for a long time. You can go check back podcasts, histories, and more. I'll save you the trouble. Definitely not on board with Kotick. Haven't been for a long time. Often found it laughable that people would be so mad at EA when I would then turn around and say, like, you're mad at EA, but have you guys even looked and paid attention to what they're doing over at Activision? But that's when they had good games. Good game armor is a protector in the industry, and when that fails, I think it ends up becoming this bigger, I guess snowball, if for lack of a better term. As a Texas guy, the only snow that I've really seen was that big freeze last year. Anyway, I digress. We're talking about something specific here because now we're actually seeing industry leaders step out and actually talk about this as well. So today's post is actually about Phil Spencer talking about how he's very troubled and he's evaluating their relationship with Activision. No small words. Ultimately, it's just more on top of the snowball, and who knows if anything will ever come about it, right? Because you still have massive IP over at Activision, and that's one of the things I've been saying. As that stock continues to drip, as more and more mounting pressure builds from the community, there's a lot of different forces at play. There's a lot of friction and there's a lot of resistance. Also, natural systems as stockholders, as people who don't want that stock price to fall, there's different games and things like that. They'll all be in motion. But I think this is kind of critical because honestly, at the end of the day, should Microsoft just purchase Activision? Should Sony? Should Google? Should Amazon? I even saw somebody say Nintendo should buy Activision and then make the Pokemon MMO that we've all been waiting for. And I don't personally believe that Nintendo needs to buy Activision to make the Pokemon MMO. I just don't think they care about MMOs, but that's another discussion for another day. Xbox chief says he's evaluating a relationship with Activision. This comes from Bloomberg. As usual, I'm going to include the link to this article in the description. I always want to know your thoughts as we dive in. Microsoft's head, Phil Spencer, says he's evaluating all aspects of the relationship with Activision Blizzard and making ongoing proactive adjustments in light of the recent revelations at the video game publisher. In an email to staff by Bloomberg that was seen by Bloomberg News, Phil Spencer said that he and the gaming leadership team are disturbed and deeply troubled by this horrific event and actions at Activision Blizzard. He referred to the Wall Street Journal story earlier this week and said Chief Executive Officer Bobby Kotick knew of sexual harassment at the company for years and that he mistreated women. This type of behavior has no place in our industry, Spencer wrote. He joins a swell of outcry from employees and investors and shareholders in demanding a stronger response from the U.S. second biggest gaming publisher. On Wednesday, Sony Corp PlayStation Jim Ryan also sent a similar note to staff, writing that he and his leadership were disheartened and frankly stunned to read that Activision has not done enough to address this deep-seated culture and discrimination and harassment. Phil Spencer went on a step further in saying that he would take action. Xbox and PlayStation are among the video game industry's biggest console manufacturers. Activision has a long history with Xbox, and the publisher's largest franchise, Call of Duty, became successfully largely due to Microsoft's innovative online platform Xbox Live, which allows the players to connect for multiplayer matches. Most of Activision games are published on Xbox consoles. At least 500 Activision employees have actually signed a petition to remove Kotick, as the shareholder group has called for him to resign, for the two other long-serving directors to step down. And we covered this in that video yesterday. It's important to note this is a very small percentage, 3.8 million shares versus almost rounded up 780 million. So a very small percentage currently on board. That's why it's important for us to keep talking about this as gamers. That's why as a community, it's important that the story becomes as big as it can be, because more and more people eventually will tides change minds in this regards. All right, with respect to all the feedback of our valued partners, we are engaging with them further. Activision said in a statement, We have detailed important changes they have implemented in the recent weeks, and we will continue to do so. We are committed to the work of ensuring our culture and workspace are safe, diverse, and inclusive. We know it will take time, but we will not stop until we have the best workplace for our team. As public backlash mounts, the company's stock has taken a hit. JPMorgan Chase cut its recommendation of the stock, citing the growing controversy over Kotick. The recent negative headlines introduce a significant amount of uncertainty to this story, and it is unclear how long this issue will remain a risk. JPMorgan analyst Alexa wrote in a note to investors. Activision stock slid 3% Thursday, bringing its losses this week down to more than 10%. So that's why I'm making this video. I want you guys to have the information. As always, I love the conversations around video games and topics, but this obviously isn't, exciting news. This isn't something to be excited about, like the latest New World update or I don't know what else is going on. Halo just fixed some things. So there's lots of things that are moving in good directions. There's things to be positive about. But I just ask that you guys consider stepping over the line and not supporting Activision until major changes have been made. It's one thing to say you don't like Kotick. It's another thing to say that and continue to support his games. And that's what a lot of people do. That's why every boycott that I've seen in the industry has only benefited the games. Outside of the fact that we actually saw a dip in Call of Duty's numbers this year. I don't think it's a direct correlation to just obviously the issues that are going on. Obviously, I think they made a bad game. But I think the core of it is it's important that we continue to invite people to reconsider their position on how they decide to cover and play these types of games. That's going to be it for this video, guys. It should be short, sweet, simple one to get this in front of you. I think this is a message of hope. Hopefully we see more and more pressure mounted from other pieces, other business relationships in the industry. The biggest way that this impacts is obviously impact the money going to them. And hopefully we see change. And that's good, because I want the teams making the games to have a happy and healthy and safe relationship there at work, because I think we get better games from that. I think the industry benefits as a whole. It's just my 2 cents. Thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video. But until then, take care.
Friendly, fun, and optimistic community, baby. Coming from an MMO community filled with toxicity, this is an amazing breath of fresh air. Keep it up, baby. Oh, yeah. I just want to say I'm really glad you're feeling